Well, good morning, everyone. We are back as we preview Week 13 NFL Fantasy matchup as we talk with both Jimmy over in Phoenix and Jed over here in suburb of Illinois. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Did any of you guys watch the game? Look, I watched the game. I was highly disappointed. I was very impressed by Tony Pollard. I was very disappointed by Dak Prescott, who got me a measly 14 points. You're playing against the Saints defense. Something about the Saints defense is outstanding. I couldn't understand why they couldn't score any points.
Yeah, they didn't get as much as you were expecting. But boy, I kept thinking about our conversation on Tuesday. I hope people were listening because we talked about Michael Gallup having good hands and that touchdown catch. If you guys didn't see the highlights of that touchdown catch, it was one of the best of the year. It was awesome. So it just proved out that he really, if he gets the ball thrown his way, he can catch it.
Yeah, I also played CeeDee Lamb and also Tony Pollard, and I was not sure. By halftime, I think they had 8 points and 2 points, and then he opens up the third quarter with the 52-yard TD run, and I was so happy. And the other thing I noticed is Taysom Hill threw 4 interceptions, yet that guy still got 24 fantasy points. And it's because he ran the ball so much yesterday.
I wonder that's without because usually most leagues you lose 2 points for every interception. So it's interesting if he still got that many.
Yeah, it just was. Dallas, Dak Prescott has been last year before the ankle injury. He was so consistent, always throwing for 300, 400 yards. This week, there are days when he's really good. There are weeks when he really, really struggles at times too. And Ezekiel Elliott, with that knee injury that's giving him problems, I'm concerned for him for the rest of the season and even his long-term future as well too.
He looks old. Yeah, you're right. He's got that injury, but he looks old. Even when he was running, and he just doesn't look right now. And Tony Pollard looks like he's faster, he's more nimble, and he's the guy that you want to play from a fantasy perspective.
Yeah, Pollard was a great pickup last week. He looks strong.
Mm-hmm. Hey, look, Ezekiel Elliott gets paid a lot of money. I would not be surprised if he's a cap casualty and they end up cutting him and going with Tony Pollard, who is cheaper, and then taking that money and spending it more on the defense as well too.
They have a pretty good defense so far, but I can see them really shoring up. That's what Dallas is always known for, good defensive line and offensive lines. And so they play smart. I think Tommy's right. I can see them cutting ties with Elliott going somewhere else. And then they're really going to continue to shore up those two lines.
Yeah. Jim, Antonio Brown has been suspended 3 games without pay for violating the COVID-19 protocols. He already was supposed to miss the next 2 weeks with this injury. With these games, he'll be out until week 15. Mm-hmm. Is he someone that you're going to drop, or are you even holding on to him at all for some slimmer hope for the playoffs?
No, I don't think so. I don't know if you guys saw this. Somebody in our Walter White League dropped A.J. Brown. And so he's not supposed to come back until roughly about the same time, right? So if I had a choice between an A.J. Brown and Antonio Brown, I choose A.J. Brown over Antonio Brown. Just because, there's 2 other receivers. You never know what Antonio Brown's going to end up doing. And I just
Somebody dropped A.J. Brown? What?
A.J. Brown and James Robinson.
What? Yeah, now I got to go look at that. That's insane.
Well, I think a lot of times knowing that guy, or I didn't know, he picked up a tight end. It looks like he probably needs a tight end with all the bye weeks.
But still, dropping A.J. Brown and James Robinson. So, yeah, I looked at him, and he's not – he's on the IR. He's not supposed to come back until week 15. Depending on when your playoff schedule is, you're going to be in the semifinals, quarterfinals, whatever it is. And so I just – same thing with Antonio Brown. I just don't want to wait for Antonio Brown, but I'll wait for an A.J. Brown.
Yeah, that's a good call. You know what we should really talk about, though, is it's bogus that Aaron Rodgers got a measly $20,000 fine for basically doing the same thing that Antonio Brown did. And Antonio Brown somehow suspended for 3 games. Because remember, Antonio Brown is vaccinated. He got a fake vaccination card and he lied about his status, but he is vaccinated. Whereas Aaron Rodgers was not, and he lied about his status and he got away with nothing. To me, that was totally duplicitous.
He's also
if I was Antonio Brown, I'd be yelling and screaming about this.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting. The media is not giving Aaron Rodgers more heat for this, but it doesn't make any sense to me. How one is a 3-game suspension. I mean, 3 games is significant. It's not like a 1 game. Like I think if you do like if you get caught with marijuana, isn't it like a 1-game suspension or something? It's like very little. So I don't know, it just didn't seem right.
Yeah, I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan, so whatever. So
I just want him to cut his hair. Shave and cut his hair. I'm happy with that. Yeah. Hey, Jed, Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins. Look, they're playing against the Bears. No matter what, they're winning against the Bears. And for us as Bears fans, you're not cheering for them to lose because they have no number 1 draft pick. All right. So it's just not very good with the Bears right now. But both Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins are playing this week. And Kyler Murray is always going to be decent. DeAndre Hopkins, how concerned are you as well, too? He's coming back with a hamstring.
Yeah, I actually am playing Kyler Murray, I'm watching the practice reports very closely, but I am playing Kyler Murray. I'm not playing Hopkins because even before when he wasn't hurt, he was still Murray was spreading it around so much that he was not doing as well as I had hoped, as he has in the past year. So I'm actually holding him out given the injury as well. But watch those practice reports really closely because I'm still worried that they might last minute not play Murray.
Yeah, I do think that, the Bears are notorious for allowing big games from the running backs and the tight ends. I do expect a pretty good game from James Connors as well as also from Zach Ertz. I think both of them, I would not be surprised if both of them scored a touchdown.
Yeah, Zach Ertz has been a great pickup. I have him in one league, and he's been producing really well.
Yeah.
Zach Ertz and even the Pittsburgh one, Pat Freiermuth, has been doing really, really well for me.
Yeah. Freiermuth's been another good tight end pickup too.
Hey, Jim, Allen Robinson did not practice. Next year is going to be his free agent year. And look, there's no incentive for him to even play until he's exactly healthy. What do you think about Mooney as well, too, in terms of playing against the Cardinals?
Well, I was surprised to see so many people have already let go of Allen Robinson, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised. But I think you're right. I don't think he's going to play for the rest of the season because he knows that he's a free agent and he's going to be like, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'm just going to take the rest of this year off and see if I can get another contract because I think for him, it's almost like, well, Mooney's already going to be number 1, so my time here is done. So why should I play? And I feel like the Bears have kind of moved on from him as well too. Mooney's there. Jimmy Graham's there. Cole Kmet's there. I don't even know. Who's the other? Oh, Marquise Goodwin has been playing a lot more these days. So I feel like you can just let Allen Robinson go.
Yeah, it's too bad because I think the talent is still there. So I would wait to see where he picks up next year. I think he could be a good target next year for a low, basically like bounce back year. So you might be able to draft him really at a low round and still get good production. Oh, can't hear you, Tommy.
Watch someone like Baltimore take him.
Yeah.
I could see him as a good fit. They need somebody that they could throw to. Mark Andrews, Allen Robinson, perfect fit right there. Or New England. I could see a New England Patriots taking him.
I could see a New England getting.
Oh man, if New England got him, lights out. That's the missing piece in New England is the wide receiver. They just since Randy Moss, they have not had that dominant wide receiver. So that would be great.
But the fact that they're winning with a Jacoby Myers, and then Nelson Aguilar shows how good they are.
Yeah. Myers is best, a third wide receiver. So is Bournes. And you have the 2 tight ends. If you have Allen Robinson as your number 1 receiver, then go play with Bournes and all those guys. And they have Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson, Mac Jones. You'll be good.
Yeah. But for me, going back to Mooney, though, I think he's a good receiver. I don't think he's a number 1 receiver. I think he's more of a second receiver. So I would love to see the Bears try to get another player. But then, most likely Nagy's out, right? Whether or not Pace is out, you're just hoping that they'll bring in a good coach who knows how to utilize Justin Fields.
Yeah. Jim, DeAndre Swift is probably going to be out with the shoulder, and he probably won't be playing this week. Is Jamal Williams on your flex?
I think so. I mean, I think he was available in all the leagues, right? So I picked him up quite a bit in most of these leagues. They have not determined whether or not they're going to put DeAndre Swift in the IR. Some people say yes. Some people just say we're going to wait and see. My guess is at least you're going to get 2 good games out of Jamal Williams. And maybe if he goes, DeAndre Swift goes on the IR, you get 3 or 4 games from him as well too. I don't think Jamal Williams is going to score a lot, but he'll at least give you a good 10 to 12 fantasy points, I feel.
Yeah. Jed, I saw that you liked my article that I shared on Facebook this week in terms of Antonio Gibson and also Javonte Williams as your number 1 running backs. Look, Melvin Gordon did not practice Thursday, and he's going to be 50-50. McKissick is out for the last 2 days in practices. Oh, and also Elijah Mitchell as well, too. What do you think of those 3 running backs?
Well, Elijah Mitchell, definitely. I mean, I think you're fine there. And if you watched Antonio Gibson, he had a nice bounce back week. So I think, Tommy, you got rewarded for being patient and waiting. Hopefully you still started him and didn't sit him. But yeah, I think both of those backs, I'm comfortable playing. I think, again, at this point, if you waited this long for Gibson to come back, now should be the payoff.
Hey, I'm very excited. Gibson, Elijah Mitchell, and Javonte Williams are all playing in one of my leagues. They're all my starting running backs and flex players.
Yeah, you should be fine. I think you'll get good production out of all those.
Yeah. Oh, and Jimmy's Alexander Madison is my other flex player.
Yeah. He's a guy. You better hope that these running backs aren't going to fail you. But I can see them all doing pretty well though for this last part of the season. I mean, actually, there was this stat that was showing all of the top 5 running back picks from the draft at the beginning of the year and how all of them are out. Right, McCaffrey, Henry, Cook. All of them are out, and so you're left again, as we see it, with all these back end running backs that you can pick up off the waiver wire.
Yep. Jed, I'm not sure if you recognize Daniel Jones suffers a strained neck, but they have a new offensive coordinator for the Giants because Jason Garrett was fired. Do you know who their new offensive coordinator taking over the Giants is?
No.
Former head coach of the Cleveland Browns, Freddie Kitchens.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Oh, my gosh. There is no confidence in if Freddie Kitchens is your offensive coordinator. This is just not going to be good.
Do you know why? I was reading this really good story about why they fired Jason Garrett. So I guess Garrett is a favorite of the owners of the New York Giants. And so this was a way for them to really make a statement to the players that says, we are serious about winning. So that's why they let go of the favorite son of the New York Giants owners so that they can make a statement to the players that says nobody is off limits right now.
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm not sure about you. Joe Judge is a former New England guy. I can't stand when the New England guys who do really, really well under Bill Belichick, then they come and bring the New England system over. It didn't work for Mike Patricia. It probably won't work for Joe Judge. And they try to create this New England way of doing things. It just never works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Jim, Adrian Peterson signs with the Seattle Seahawks. Look, there's no Chris Carson. DJ Dallas, are you going after? I mean, Alex, who's the other one that they currently have?
Alex Collins. Yeah.
Alex Collins.
Alex Collins did not play again last week, or did not practice this week, right? And even last week, he had really minimal touches. I feel like DJ Dallas is your only back that is even worth rostering. But honestly, even for him, he didn't do much last week. I just don't have confidence right now in the Seattle Seahawks. I think from what everybody says, either Russell Wilson or Pete Carroll is out. One of them is going to be out at the end of the season. And so, and if they're going to keep, and Wilson just isn't healthy. I mean, Metcalf, Lockett, none of them are doing well. So for me right now, I'm just hands off. I mean, I'll still play Metcalf, but everybody else, I'm not playing them right now.
Yeah. Hey, Jed, for you as well too. Darren Waller will probably miss week 13. And look, Las Vegas, Hunter Renfrow is the player to own. But if you're really needing a tight end, what do you think of a Foster Moreau over at Las Vegas? Is he someone that even you're looking at to start? Because, and I say this, because Derek Carr has actually been doing really, really decently well.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting one. I hadn't thought
He's
of.
actually pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't thought of that. That's actually not bad. And they're playing Washington this week, so there should be a lot of points there. That's not a bad consideration. The person I was thinking about, if you're looking for a tight end, is Noah Fant. I feel like he's available in some leagues. But yeah, that's I think that's not a bad move to consider the Vegas backup tight end.
And the reason being is in week 7, when he did fill in for Waller, he caught 6 of 6 targets for 60 yards and a touchdown. He's a good fill-in. Look, Waller, we don't know how long he's going to be out, but Foster Moreau might be decent here for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. I like Foster Moreau. And based off of, their best receiver right now is Deshaun Jackson. And you never know what's going to happen to Deshaun Jackson. So they're going to
Renfrow.
Yeah, Hunter Renfrow.
Oh, yeah, that's Hunter Renfrow. Yeah. Hunter Renfrow, Deshaun Jackson. But you still, once you get to the goal line, you still need Foster Moreau to be able to catch those things.
Yeah, the problem with Deshaun Jackson, he hasn't been practicing. So, as usual, you'll get one really, really good game for Deshaun Jackson. Everyone picks him up, and he's injured for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I used to love Deshaun Jackson. He used to be so good, Deshaun Jackson.
Speedster.
Yeah. Well, actually, speaking of injury, a lot of times, Jed and Jimmy, it actually reminds me of Sammy Watkins. Have you heard anything about Sammy Watkins in Baltimore this year? He'll have one really good game, and you swoop him up, and you never hear from him again, and he's injured. Jed, I know this is a player that you like. Give me a case for playing Matt Breida, not as your starting running back, but as your flex this week.
Yeah, no, I like Breida. I know he didn't play out as well. I'm starting him in a couple different leagues. Again, this is if you're looking for, you've been hit by the injury bug. I lost both Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook. And so Matt Breida, again, to me, what you're banking on is the 49ers offense, the 49ers running offense. They always, do well in that department. They're playing the Seahawks. As we know, the Seahawks are, reeling right now and in a world of hurt. And so I expect Breida to do well. He didn't do that great last week, but I'm expecting a bounce back this week.
Yeah. All right. One last thing before we go into Jed's weekly picks. Jed, I am rooting for Jimmy to beat our friend David Best over in our keeper team this week, because I need David to continue to lose for that last and final playoff spot for me to slip in. I think I have a pretty good team. All my guys, Antonio Gibson, all of them are coming back from injury. But Jimmy is already losing because Dave has already played Taysom Hill, who got him 25 points, Tony Pollard, who already got him 15 points, Ezekiel Elliott by 6 points. He also then has Jonathan Taylor coming up, Stephon Diggs, Jalen Waddle, whereas Jimmy has Herbert, Elijah Moore, Eckler, Harris. I need Eckler and Harris to just go off and Ertz to play well against the Bears. That's who I'm waiting for this week.
Wait, do we take top 6 or top 4?
Top six.
Top 6.
Oh, so I'm technically in right now.
Yeah, you're still technically in. Yeah.
Okay, because I was going to say
I lost
I
5
need
straight. So let's see what happens after this week.
Yeah, no, I've been horrible. So if I somehow manage to squeak in, that'll be amazing. We'll see.
Yeah, that's my brother's MO, right? He tries to if his team's not doing well, all he wants to do is eke it out into the playoffs.
Yeah,
and then hope to run the table by having players that are coming back from the IR to be able to play.
Yeah, no, he's the New York Giants when they came in as the 6th seed and then ran the table and won the Super Bowl. You're just basically the Giants.
Yeah, if I'm not first or second, then I say, you know what? I'm going to start taking a risk on certain players that people are willing to play because they're struggling because of injuries. And then once they get to week 12, 13, they're ramping up. And so it's great.
Good luck.
Jed, weekly picks.
Yeah, so this week was interesting. I'm going to go straight to the big game. I hope you guys are all excited about Monday night. New England Patriots playing the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. Buffalo Bills are 3-point favorites. Hey, one interesting note I'll mention just for all you people out there who bet. Traditionally, home team advantage is worth 3 points. So if two teams are even, Vegas will make the home team a 3-point favorite. This is the first year the home team advantage has been slowly declining over the past 3 to 5 years. This is one of the first years you've seen Vegas really move the line to where now instead of 3 points for home field advantage, you only get a 1-point advantage. So what that tells you is the fact that the Bills are 3-point favorites. That means Vegas actually thinks the Bills are better than just being a home court advantage, that they're actually better than that. I disagree. I think New England is going to win this. I think New England is going to crush Buffalo, actually. I think the Patriots are incredibly hot. The defense is playing really well. So I expect the Patriots to come out of this with the win.
Yeah. Will you expect a shootout, or will you expect Josh Allen in the offense to continue to struggle?
Exactly. I expect the offense to continue to struggle. I think Belichick has got a bead on the quarterbacks, and we've seen a lot of up and down from Josh Allen this year. I think if the Bills can win, it'll be if they can establish the run game, which they have not been able to do. And so we'll see. We'll see if it comes out. And if the Bills defense could potentially win the game for them, and have a great game, getting to Mac Jones, putting pressure on him, then I think they have a chance there. But otherwise, I expect the Patriots to win.
I don't know I don't know if this is just me, but I feel like this year, a lot of these players that you think are going to be pretty consistent are just not very consistent, right? Like even a Josh Allen, you would think that every week he's going to be able to score 20 to 30 points. Dak Prescott, even a Kyler Murray. But I think maybe it's just the nature of the NFL. Every week, you never know who's going to end up winning. You never know who's going to end up losing. And some of these folks that you think are just going to come in and win and score tons of points, they haven't done that.
Yeah, no, it is. I do think it's a function of the NFL, which is great. I mean, to me, this is what the NFL wants. They don't want blowouts, right? It makes it really exciting. The only other one I'll mention, the Bengals 3-point favorites over the Chargers. I've been on the Bengals all year, and I just feel like I feel like they'll have a good game this week, so I'm expecting the Bengals to win. But I don't know, they've just been so up and down. Same with the Chargers. The Chargers have not been what we expected, but it's at home for the Bengals, so I'm expecting them to win it.
My only concern from a fantasy perspective about the Bengals is the last few weeks, Jamar Chase has not done too well. What do you call it?
Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon has been incredible, right? So I was like, from a selfish perspective, I was like, go back to Jamar Chase. But I wonder again if he's hit this rookie wall and Joe Mixon is really picking up steam, and they're just going to feed the ball to Joe Mixon.
I actually think it's been a little bit of scheme. There was an interview with Joe Burrow where he mentioned that one of the biggest learnings for him this year was that he doesn't have to have 300, 400 yards for them to win, to really realize that the running game can be very complementary. So I actually think scheme-wise, they've been intentional about not, just having him to throw it, 40, 50 times. So that's why you've seen the drop-off in production there. But I think that Jamar Chase is still a great player.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we just have to remember that rookie wall may be real as well too. The college season ends now, and so a lot of these guys are conditioned to play up to this college season. So they'll drop for a couple weeks, and then they'll get their second win, and they'll continue to do well. So we'll see about that. Now, at the same time, we're seeing Justin Herbert. It's year 2. A lot of second-year quarterbacks struggle. Now, in terms of Josh Allen and all those, they did really well in year 2, but then now defenses are reading how they're playing their scheme, that Josh Allen runs a little bit. Like Patrick Mahomes is, if you could pressure him, he can't throw the deep ball. And so you just sit there and block the deep ball and allow him to throw short yardage. So we'll see what happens as these guys start adjusting to everything.
The good thing about Josh Allen is I feel like he does have some pretty decent weapons, right? He's got Stephon Diggs, he's got Knox back, he's got Cole Beasley, Breida. I mean, he's got some good, decent weapons around him that will always give him some consistent fantasy numbers.
Yeah. Hey, just to let you guys know, remember, for those teams that are on bye, the Titans are on bye, the Panthers are on bye, the Browns are on bye, and the Packers are on bye as well too. All right, let's talk through a couple of games as we wrap up here as well too. Let's talk specifically, Jim, Colts versus Texans is, for instance, Jonathan Taylor is just going to go off, all right? And we also know Michael Pittman is someone to look at. Are you looking, how about Mo Alley-Cox? If you really need a tight end, Mo Alley-Cox did nothing. Is it Jack Doyle? Is it Mo Alley-Cox? Is it Carson Wentz? Are you thinking about playing any of those three?
Well, first of all, I do think that actually the Houston defense is actually decent, right? And so in the last few weeks, if you look at the fantasy points of who they play, they've actually done pretty decent. Frank Wright also came out this past week and said, what do you call it? Jonathan Taylor is our stud running back, but we're not going to feed him the ball and have him score 5 touchdowns like we did last time, because that just gives him too much work. And so that's why last week, if you notice, he didn't feed the ball to him as much, and he got criticized for it. But he just says that's a philosophy for it as well too. But if you look at Carson Wentz is doing well. I think Jonathan Taylor is good. T.Y. Hilton, Michael Pittman. I mean, they've got decent fantasy players, and their defense is actually pretty good as well too. On the Houston side, I think Tyrod Taylor is actually a decent pickup if you need some sort of backup quarterback.
Yeah. Jen, hey, going to the Eagles and Jets. Look, the only one that you're starting is Elijah Moore, and you'll take a chance on him. Tevin Coleman, if you're really desperate, you're starting Tevin Coleman. But on the Eagles side, Boston Scott. Talk to me about Boston Scott this week.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I mean, we all know Miles Sanders has been really, struggling. And so I actually had someone ask me if they should drop Sanders. I suggested still keeping him on the bench. I think Boston Scott, especially this week, expecting the Eagles to win and to potentially win big. So I think that's not a bad move. I actually disagree with you on Tevin Coleman. He didn't have a bad outing last time. I think he got like 5 yards or something. If you need a running back, I don't think that's a bad plug-in. You just see. I mean, I don't expect them to win, but he's going to get some carries. That he's the primary guy
he's
there.
Better than Tyler Johnson.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I actually don't think he's too bad of a plug and play. There's been so many injuries at running back this year that we're really down to the second and even third string, and you just your gauge for like what is worth it is a little bit lower than it has been.
Because you know why, Jed? Because people like Tommy are sitting there stockpiling all the running backs. So the rest of us have Tevin Coleman and Tyler Johnson to pick from.
That's a smart move.
I'm like, why is that?
Yeah. Hey, it's like that other guy in my league who's stockpiling tight ends. I can't get a tight end. It's a good thing. I picked up Pat Fryermuth, but other than that, I had Mo Alley Cox for about 3 weeks. One thing in terms of stats, the Jets have allowed the most fantasy points to running backs this year. So in some sense, Boston Scott should be a good play for this week as well too. Jim, talk to me about
Boston Scott. I just hope he doesn't fumble, because he does have a fumbling problem, and it's not been this year. It's been the last few years whenever he's got spots starting.
Yeah. Couple more as well too. Jim, talk to me about the Chargers versus the Bengals. Herbert, Eckler, Joe Mixon, but man, T. Higgins, he has 13 plus points in 5 of his past 6 games. T. Higgins has been doing really well in the last 3 or 4 games. He has 75 plus receiving yards. And now the Chargers have allowed the second fewest fantasy points to wide receivers this season. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about T. Higgins.
Well, I do think that the 2 receivers that's really coming on as of late is T. Higgins as well as Brandon Ayuk in San Francisco. And I still like we talked about earlier, I think Jamar Chase has hit a rookie wall. I do think they're going to use T. Higgins a little bit more. So on the Cincinnati Bengals, I feel that. On the San Diego Chargers, if you've noticed, what's his name? Justin Herbert, every other game he does really well. And so last week he did okay. I anticipate him to have a really good game this week. I do hope. I mean, Austin Eckler has been a stud this year. Whether or not they can get Mike Williams going, I'm not really sure. But I do think Herbert's going to have a good game this week.
Yeah. Jet, let me pick over you. And look, I'm going through Buccaneers versus Falcons. Let me pick your brain on this. Tom Brady, since the bye week, has been the 10th fantasy in terms of points, 10th fantasy quarterback so far since the bye week. But Rob Gronkowski is tight end 3 in fantasy points per game when he does play. He has 13 catches for 194 yards in the 2 games since returning from injury. Leonard Fournette has 4 touchdowns and 44 fantasy points last week. Do you keep playing Tom Brady? Now, and the easy answer is yes. But if there's a better quarterback out there that's sitting on the waiver wires, are you starting him over Tom Brady, or do you just keep playing Tom Brady?
Not this week. I mean, they're playing the Falcons, so they should destroy the Falcons, I expect. And the one thing about Brady too is he's not gonna take it easy, just because they get a win. Like, he's always wants to push the gas, to make sure that the offense is really clicking. So I don't think this is the week to sit him. I mean, if you've been riding with Brady all season, you got to continue to do so. And I expect them to have good output this week. They should crush the Falcons. The score should be fairly high. For the Falcons, though, if you got Cordero Patterson, you should still be able to get your points there. The person that I'm concerned about is Kyle Pitts. Again, teams have figured out to just take him out, and it really ruins the Falcons' chances. So Pitts has been a big disappointment that they haven't figured out how to get over that.
Yeah. Jim, last game that I want to look at is Broncos versus Chiefs. 6-5 Broncos versus the 7-5 Chiefs. Javonte Williams is the only person I'm starting. Are you starting anyone else? Because we don't even know Teddy Bridgewater is playing this game.
Yeah. No, I think Javonte Williams. Because is Melvin Gordon out this week? He is, right? Or is he limited?
He hasn't practiced for the last 2 days, so he's 50-50 right now.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. I mean, I think he's coming in at the right time. I think he's going to be the Cam Akers of this year, fantasy year. So you'll see some really good games coming out of Williams. It's a Monday night football game. And Patrick Mahomes seems to do really well in these evening matchups. And so I feel like I think the Chiefs are going to win, and I think they're going to do well from a fantasy perspective.
Yeah. Hey, I am hoping, Jed, I keep hoping Jimmy does well this week. I'm hoping Tyreek Hill just goes off. That is my hope. Tyreek Hill just goes off.
That's because he wants to squeak into the playoffs and come in with his team that he's been building the entire last few weeks so that he can win this thing. That's what he wants.
You never know. I mean, Tommy, I think you're right there. I mean, I think, it could definitely fall your way. Even if, let's see, if you need him to lose and then you need to win. But even if you both lose, your points are way behind.
Yep.
So
there's no chance for me to catch up on points.
Yeah. Okay. Because that's what I was going to say. That's the next thing is usually that points as a tiebreaker. So, good luck. We'll see.
Yeah.
Week 15 is the first start playoffs. I need him to lose 2 games and to win both games. Guaranteed. That's the only reason. If we both win and tie 1-1, I lose to him in points.
Jed, I bet Tommy would be so pissed if I decided not to play a bunch of my players because I'd much rather face a David Best and Tommy's team coming into the playoffs.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you guys should. So I've done that before, Jimmy. I've done that where I purposefully tanked because I did not want the other guy to get in. It's interesting whether or not that there's a whole debate about whether or not that's ethical or not. Right?
Yeah,
it's the same debate as the NFL about whether or not you should be allowed to sit your starters and essentially lose a game if you've already locked up a number 1 or number 2 seed. But I've done that before.
Look, guys, I am very excited about my team. If I get in the playoffs, I have Devontae Adams, Javonte Williams, David Montgomery, Rob Gronkowski, Alex Madison, Gibson, Mooney, Rodgers, McLaren, all in my lineup. That's the team I want.
Yeah. See, and honestly, you're looking at comparing that to the other team that might squeak in, and you're having an easier time. So you're right, Jed. There's a part of me that says I think I might just tank this week and not play any of my good players. But I also feel like that is unethical, and you should always every week play the best you can and to see how it works.
Yeah, I'm not of the ilk that it's unethical because I think you're still trying to. The bottom line is you're trying to win the overall championship, and you're trying to put yourself in the best position for that. But I do agree that it sometimes backfires on you. Remember that we were just talking about the Giants who were the 6th seed and then they won the Super Bowl. If you guys remember back to that season, they had the same opportunity. They declined. They played all their starters the week before the playoffs, and they actually lost a key lineman who got injured. And so everyone was like, see, that's why you don't do that. But then they went on that magical run, and I feel like it just kind of worked out for them. So, you just have to be careful with it.
Yeah. Totally. I get it.
Hey, a couple of things. Let's talk about baseball and also basketball as well, too. Baseball, there's nothing. It's a lockout, but, man, if baseball does not start spring training on time, coming back from COVID-19, they're going to piss fans off. If they're struggling with attendance now, you keep having a lockout that goes past spring training and into games, and you're arguing about money in the midst of lockout. Those owners just need to learn how to give on both sides. Just need to learn to give in on this one. Yeah, and then also basketball. Any thoughts in terms of basketball? Any players that you guys are looking at? Anything, any news or anything that you would pick up or recommend?
Well, Bulls had a nice win yesterday against the Knicks. But yeah, I'll just say I'm enjoying the Bulls run. It's been fun. So yeah, no, I haven't. My fantasy team's doing well. I don't know how about you guys, but I've been enjoying it.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
speaking of fantasy, over the New York Knicks, right? They bench Kemba Walker. Who's the player that, besides Julius Randle, are you picking up Fournier, or is it Derrick Rose, or who's the guy that you're looking at right now?
I like Quickly, but I know he's very up and down. But I've always liked his game, so I don't know if he can get more minutes. He's someone I would look at.
Actually, the person I really like who's been doing really well is Burks for me. He's actually had a pretty good run with Walker out. And the other person, going back to waivers that Tom you might talk about, you guys saw that Bam Adebayo from Miami, the center. He's out. I think he might be out for the entire season. So Dwayne Deadman, actually, who's starting in place of him, this past week had 11 points, 13 rebounds. He's actually a pretty decent pickup, I think, for people who are needing some good rebounds and blocks.
Now, I would say this about Bam. According to Woj, he could be back as early as 4 weeks because all it is the thumb.
Yeah.
So if you have an IR spot sitting there waiting and make a low ball offer for Bam, try to get him because some people don't want to give up that spot. And then from that point on, wait those 4 weeks if you can afford it.
My IR spot, I just need Klay Thompson to get off because I have him on IR, and I still have Kawhi Leonard, and I'm just waiting to decide whether or not I want to dump him or not because no one knows when he's coming back.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, if you're also looking for a small forward and power forward, take a look at Jashawn Tate over at the Houston Rockets.
Really? Is he
young
that good?
player? I think in the last 4 games, especially, and now it's probably because Christian Wood is out. Last night, he had 32 points. Before that, he had 15 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists.
Wow.
Before that, 16 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists in the steal per game. Yet last night, he had 2 steals. Take a look at Tate.
Why is Dwight Howard suddenly a hot pickup? I see everyone's getting him. Did he get a bunch more time or something?
Dwight Howard?
Dwight Howard on the Lakers is suddenly a hot pickup.
Know. But here's the problem with Dwight Howard: his field goal percentage and that free throw percentage is not good.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for me to justify getting him.
And also take a quick look at Damian Lillard. He's been out. He's going to be out for another 10 days. He has a damaged tendon that attaches to his pelvis. That's why he's been struggling a lot. And he'll probably be out for another 10 days. And who knows what's going to happen if it's going to be more than 10 days. So take a quick look. Look at Anthony Simons, even though he did go out yesterday with an injury. And so a lot of times McCollum suddenly becomes a huge primary focus of the offense, but maybe Anthony Simons might be depending on what his injury is.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else about Bitcoins before we wrap up?
No, all the stocks are tanking. Bitcoin is going down. But I mean, this thought of it reaching $100,000 by the end of the year, I don't think it's going to happen. But as we keep saying, long term, but everything's tanking. I'm looking at all my stocks right now. All of a sudden, everything that I have has dropped by like 10%.
So I have been on the stock side. I've really been waiting. I've been debating if now is the time to buy all the travel stocks. So specifically airlines, Boeing, I've been looking at Disney World. You guys are going to Disney. I've been thinking about Disney and in the cruise line stocks because they're all down at their 52-week lows. At some point, I think that's all going to turn around. And so is now the time to jump in? I'm kind of thinking it might be.
Got it. Well, guys, thank you very much. We're looking forward to week 13, and we'll probably be back on Tuesday as we wrap up week 13. And we'll say, hey, for many of you guys, if this is your first week of playoffs, best of wishes. Trade deadline for some leagues are gone. And so best of wishes with the current team that you currently have.
Sounds great. Thanks.